Oh, there's some fire for you. All right, guys, stick around. We're starting in 2 minutes. The Michael D Show. We're live and streaming. It's a Thanksgiving Thursday, the week of Thanksgiving. So it's Tuesday, and we're thankful all week long. So we've got some great guests lined up. Don't miss it. It's going to be epic. Changing lives in New York and NASDAQ and beyond. Michael D. Butler, Global Book Publisher. We're ending human trafficking at 1040impact.org. Hey, welcome to the Michael D Show. So glad you're here. This is Thanksgiving week. I'm coming at you from Dallas, Texas, and you're watching the Michael D TV show, Faith, Family, Culture, and Business every Tuesday at this time. We've got so much to be thankful for. We're so glad you're here. We've got an epic lineup today of great guests from around the country. How you doing today, Roy?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Hey, great to see you. I tell you, it's going to be great. And you're there in Austin, Texas. Everybody's weighing in. Hey to Chris Wallace. Hey to Billy. Good to see you. Hey there, McGinna in New York. Tell us, guys, where you're watching from. Chip, good to see you. Where are you watching from today, Chip?
I'm in Boone, North Carolina.
All right, all right. So glad to have you here. We got a great Thanksgiving lined up, and we got a very special next Tuesday. I know a lot of people take off this week. There's a lot of travel. There's talk about weather. There's talks about airports. And I pray wherever you are that it's safe and that your journey is great and you get to see family. Hey, Roy, really excited about you because you and your wife have got 3 young ones. How big is Thanksgiving around your house? Do you have any traditions? I mean, when does the Christmas tree go up?
Oh, right after Thanksgiving, we try to get the tree. I get the biggest tree I can possibly get every single year. I go to H-E-B here. I get the biggest one. I usually have to cut it down a little bit to fit it in the house. But for Thanksgiving, we have everybody over at our house. And so like tomorrow, Wednesday, we will go to another family member's house. And then even on Friday, we'll go over to another family member's house. So it's really like a 3-day eating fest for us.
That's awesome, man. That's just great. We're going to be talking to you today. So you actually go out and chop a live tree, right?
Oh, I'm not quite that ambitious. I get a tree that's already prepared at H-E-B.
H-E-B.
It's usually too big to fit in the house, so I have to cut down the base a little bit to just get it in. But there's a corner in our house where the paint's all scratched off because of me throwing in the biggest tree possible.
Are you like Chevy Chase on Christmas Vacation, where you put the tree on top of the station wagon and bring it home from HEB?
Yeah, luckily I got the big truck, so I don't have to do that.
That's right, you big Texas.
And then we go all out on our lights. It's a Clark Griswold style. I mean, our lights, the whole neighborhood lights up.
Yeah.
The brightest lights, as many as I can from Amazon, and I'm not very organized in hanging them. I just string them everywhere.
I'm going to be Eddie. I know what to get you for Christmas. I'm going to be Eddie in the RV, and I'm going to bring you lots of lights. Big shout out to HEB, our sponsor. My favorite right there.
Sparkling water, you got it.
Hey, we're going to be talking to you about your 2 new books that have gone bestseller, and we're going to be hearing more about what you're up to. We're going to be hearing about the book that is a movie, and almost 100 million people globally have heard Night Dive to Heaven. And before we go any further, I want to encourage you to share this link out, no matter where you're watching, on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We got people watching from all over the world today. I want you to share the link, because our next guest, he's a surfer. He's a chaplain for the Billy Graham. We just pull it up here. He's done some amazing things. He's chaplain for the Billy Graham response team, and he's here today talking about his new book, Night Dive to Heaven.
Well, I just want to get out there and discover freedom.
I just left home and I'm doing it, the whole endless summer thing.
What are 2 white boys like you doing out in this mighty desert, eh?
Surfing. In a place like this, it's easy to get lost in the moment. Beautiful culture, new and exotic, awakening the senses and the whole body.
I'm Annabelle.
Ian.
Promise that you'll never go.
Good chick, isn't it?
I think I'm falling in love with her.
Teach me everything to know. 'Cause I've been lost so. Are you gonna tell me about this perfect wave?
It's almost as if time stands still.
And I fall. Time can stand still.
I may never leave this beautiful island. At least not in this body.
Ian's in trouble.
I'm dying. I'm dying.
My life has changed forever. Let me tell you what happened to me.
And I fall like a perfect wave for you.
Chip, every time I see that clip, I get excited, because so many people have been touched by Ian McCormick's story in the book, Night Dive to Heaven. Now, you just recently got this book on Amazon. It's selling everywhere. Hardcover, paperback, ebook has gone #1. Congratulations, Amazon bestseller in 3 categories. Chip Roelke, welcome to the Michael D. Show. Why are you so excited today about Night Dive to Heaven and the story of your good friend and fellow surfer, Ian McCormick?
Well, Michael, I'm very excited to announce that Ian is interviewing today with Newsmax in New York City, and they're going to be airing the interview on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday. So I'm hoping, hundreds of thousands of viewers who possibly have not heard Ian's story will be exposed to it and have the possibility of reading the book, watching the movie, and just encountering the phenomenal, life-changing story of Ian McCormick.
It's the question everybody has: what happens when I die? And he actually died, and he's a surfer. The movie is about it. The book's about it. I'm so glad you published the book, and so glad you partnered with us on marketing the book. I got to say, because this is the big question everybody has: where will I go when I die? What happens? And so, he left home seeking that life of adventure. He's a thrill seeker, a surfer, a diver. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of you. His story reminds me of you, because you was that surfer. And I think that's one reason you relate to his story so much, right?
Well, that's true, Michael. I think Ian had the encounter with God that I've been searching for my whole life. When I was younger, I went through a lot with my parents, 2 divorces, and my mother trying to commit suicide. And I went on a God search, and churchianity wasn't cutting it. I needed an encounter with God like Moses, face to face. And Ian had that, and it absolutely shattered his life and transformed it. The last 40 years, he's been a different man, and he's the kindest, most humble, most wonderful human being I've ever met. And not many people see God face to face and come back to talk about it, but Ian has a powerful, powerful testimony.
Well, I'm going to encourage everybody to grab the book. It's Black Friday week. You can grab the hardcover, the paperback, the ebook on barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com. We want to have you back next week, Chip, because next week we're actually doing a 2-hour live stream, and Roy is going to help me host the first hour because it's Giving Tuesday. And, we have Thanksgiving on Thursday. We have Black Friday on Friday. We have Small Business Saturday. We don't really have an official thing on Sunday. I guess we could call it Go Back to Church Sunday with your family. And then Monday is big, right? Everybody calls that Cyber Monday. Well, and then the nonprofits get in on this, and we run a great nonprofit, 1040 Impact, rescuing kids from human trafficking in 5 safe houses now, 394 girls that we've rescued. And Roy's been a big part of that and helping us rescue these girls. And so Tuesday, all over the globe, is Giving Tuesday 1 week from today. And so we're going to stream 2 hours, and we're going to have some other great nonprofit people on talking about their nonprofit, their charity, and what they're doing. And we're going to be talking about 1040 Impact. I'm going to have a couple of my board members on from 1040, and I'm going to have some of my team from Pakistan on, and we're going to be hearing some amazing stories. In fact, we're going to be debuting a brand new video from 1040 Impact next week. So really glad to have you here, Chip. I would encourage everybody to go buy the book and then also check out The Perfect Wave for a great family movie tonight. It's streaming, and it's streaming right there on Amazon. Check it out.
They say the best surfer in the world is having the most fun. It's not about competition. It's simply about the moment. When you feel it, you've come the closest you can get to touching eternity. Mom, if I don't do this now, I never will.
Let your heart skip a beat. Don't hold on so tight.
Leaving home, my mom had a premonition something might happen to me on this trip. And my dad, well, he just wants me to get ahead in life. And me, well, I just want to get out there and discover freedom.
I just left home and I'm doing it, the whole endless summer thing.
Every year that you what are 2 white boys like you doing out in this mighty desert, eh?
Surfing. In a place like this, it's easy to get lost in the moment. Beautiful culture, new and exotic, awakening the senses and the whole body.
I'm Annabelle.
Yeah.
Promise that you'll never go.
It's that chick, isn't it?
I think I'm falling in love with her.
Teach me everything to know. 'Cause I've been lost so. Are you gonna tell me about this perfect wave?
It's almost as if time stands still.
And I fall.
Chip, what's it like to be in the middle of that wave as you think it's going to crash down and you just ride that tube? How does that feel?
Well, it's almost surreal, Michael. It's like time slows down and you're absolutely and totally in the moment. And it's a beautiful experience to be riding an energy wave through a liquid medium and to be totally enveloped by the wave and not even get wet. It's a beautiful creation of God. And I love riding big waves. There's nothing more challenging and thrilling than being on a big wave. But let me just say that Ian's book is unlike anything you've ever read. There's a lot of testimonies about near-death experiences, but I don't think any of them line up with what Ian encountered and experienced. It's very biblical, very scriptural, very honoring, I believe, to Jesus Christ. And not only is it available on Amazon, but you can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can order it through Walmart. It's available at all retailers I believe, as far as I can tell, pretty much worldwide. So I think it would be a great gift for Black Friday or for Christmas to give family and friends. And I just want to say there's a lot of people that won't go to church or read the Bible, but they will read a book like this. And reading a book like this, yes, could get them to read the Bible and start going to church.
100 million people have heard the story. So, Chip, how old were you when you first surfed? When did you catch your first wave?
Well, I started at 12 when my mom and dad took us up to Daytona Beach, and my father hired a lifeguard to take me out on a board. That was back in 1966 when all the beach movies came out, Endless Summer and all that, and all us Florida kids wanted to learn how to surf. But Dad wouldn't buy me a board until I was big enough to carry it to the beach. So I had to wait a year until I was big enough to drag a 9.5-foot board to the ocean, and I've been hooked on it ever since.
Well, Chip, I got to tell you, I started the publishing company in Huntington Beach, California. And, Jan and Dean had some great stuff going on right there. And there's, Duke's restaurant based on Duke, the famous surfer.
Duke Hanamoku.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many stories there. I was driving Uber and Lyft when I started the publishing company. I would do publishing on Monday and Tuesday, and then I would drive into LAX and I would Uber all night on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 4 p.m. until about 7 a.m. And that's how I started the publishing company. And I had so many surfers in my Uber and so many celebrities too. I got to tell you, I met people from 89 different countries and a lot of celebrities. If I named you would know them. And I would ask these surfing coaches, I'm like, hey, I'm 48 years old. Of course, I'm 55 now. I'm like, hey, I'm 48. Is it too late for me to learn how to surf? And they're like, no,
never too late.
To surf. He said the only thing you've got to be concerned about is they're very territorial. These surfers don't like.
Yes, they are, especially in California.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I got to tell you, I can't wait to have you back next week to talk more about Night Dive to Heaven. Go watch The Perfect Wave this weekend with your family. You're going to love it. It's a great movie. But get the book, because the book is always better than the movie. So great to have you here with us, Chip.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. I just want to say that the whole reason that I'm doing this is to get Ian's message out to the world. And hopefully, through the book, that there can be thousands, if not millions, of lives changed that are brought into his kingdom because of Ian's testimony. And Ian's not making a nickel off the book. I'm giving 100% of any income to ministry and helping people. So it's totally about the message and, encouraging people, to have a walk with Jesus Christ.
A youth pastor could buy an entire case for his entire youth group or Sunday school class. I tell you what, buy these for your firehouse, buy these for your police station, precincts. I mean, buy these for your golf club. These are great. And really, really happy that you hired us to help you with marketing, and glad we could help you get you on Newsmax. I tell you, I don't even watch Fox News anymore since they fired Tucker Carlson. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The last free voice in America. And so good for you for good for us. We got Ian on Newsmax. We're going to share the heck out of that link tomorrow Thanksgiving when that goes live. Really happy about that. He's living in New Zealand. 100 million people have heard his story. Speaking of California, speaking of surfing, all the way from California, Roy Snarr's got an amazing story, and he got into his current business because he had a near family tragedy that happened, and he got involved in the business he's doing now, which is long-term care. And he's the coolest dad I know. He actually reminds me of me when my kids were that young and when I was his age. So, Roy, welcome to the Michael D. Show. What is new? I'm going to start calling you Clark Griswold, I guess. I mean,
yeah, there you go. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was born and raised in Southern California. Originally, Redlands is where I was born, and I grew up in Fontana and then the Big Bear Mountains. And then I lived on the Central Coast and then the Bay Area. So we used to go down to Huntington Beach and all the time. It was a lot of fun.
Big Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Texas, but Texas does not have any decent beaches. I mean, once you go to Port Aransas, and then you go over to Destin, Florida. Total difference. So,
It's not the same, is it? I mean, it's
not at all.
the same. Yeah.
No, totally not.
Hey, listen, I want to get your website up so people can learn more about you. You want me to send them to Snarr Academy, or where do you want me to send people today?
Just the RoySnarr.com is good. That's perfect.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to bring you on. I wanted to talk a little bit about everything you're doing, Social Security 101, long-term care. You're now running a publishing company that we're helping you fulfill.
Yes.
I know you've got a nonprofit you're very excited about. But before we get into all that, I got a little something I want to share from Roy Snarr's podcast.
To help them grow as a person, makes our video podcast different from others. We ask each guest.
I got to get these bulls in here.
There you go.
What makes our video podcast different from others? We ask each guest what they're doing to give back to the world and their local community. Now that they've amassed their wealth, how are they giving back to help others? Additionally, we ask each guest to give our listeners a special gift to help them grow as a person and to influence their business. Welcome to the Roy Snarr Show, entrepreneurship and giving back. Now, here's your host, Roy Snarr.
Welcome back to the Roy Snarr Show. Today, I'm very excited. I have not only a good friend, a mentor, and a business partner. He's going to be coming onto the show today to share his story, his successes, his challenges, and what he's doing to give back. In fact, this is the same gentleman that helped take both of my books #1 on Amazon. He's a global publisher, global speaker. He's got his own show. I want to welcome Michael D. Butler from Beyond Publishing. Michael, thank you so much for coming out.
Great to be here. Congratulations on the show. I'm very excited to be with you.
Awesome.
And what a view. What a studio you've got here.
Yeah, isn't it awesome? That is the
Hey, man, we could just, let me turn you back around. So there you go. I'll pause it right there. That's an epic podcast studio you've got there, Roy. So,
yeah. Well, it's all based on your introductions. I found the people that have that. So,
well, I guess that's true now that I think of that. I mean, that's epic. That's obviously the capital of Texas right there in Austin. For you geography guys wanting to brush up on your geography, Austin, Texas. We learned the states and capitals. What year of school did you learn the states and the capitals, Roy? Do you remember?
I think it was probably 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. That was a long time ago.
What's the capital of Florida?
Let's see. Is it Tallahassee?
You got it, man. You got it. How about New Hampshire?
I
don't know.
I don't know. What is it?
I have no idea. It's a trick question.
Oh, okay. Good.
I have to Google that. New Haven. I know that's Connecticut.
You see, there's proof. You don't have to be that smart to be a bestseller. There we go.
well that's really good proof. I think I crammed for a lot of tests as a kid. You know, I would put it up here, and then after the test, I'd just forget about it. But you know, what are you up to? Because I know you're all about making a difference. And, you know, you got into insurance and long-term care. You do a type of insurance that not a lot of people do. And you've kind of taken the slow road on it to build your business because you wanted to structure it properly. Kind of give us your first. I want to hear the story about why you got in the insurance business. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what you're doing today.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because our entire family background, there is no financial people in there. Like a lot of folks that are in this business, their family was in the practice, they inherited a book, or their family's a background of big corporate, big wigs. We're just a bunch of hillbillies, and we did commercial logging, construction, no financial background, nothing to that nature. But I think it was my calling the whole time, because when my mother became disabled when I was about 14 years old, it kind of woke us up. I mean, at 14, I didn't know about finance and insurance and Social Security and all these other different things. I was worried about riding my bike and collecting my Pokemon cards, right? I had no idea. But as I got older and went to college, I'd always ask people, what do your parents do? What do they do? I was always looking for something different. And it just happened to stumble on somebody says, hey, look, my friend does insurance and financial services. I go, well, I don't know anything about that. Let me go check it out. And, you know, that was 13 years ago. And moving forward today, we've been able to build up a national agency, and my mom is still able to work alongside of us. She's not in the office, but she's able to come to certain events, help book appointments. So it's really cool to have her be a part of it. And then now we're able to help thousands of people every single year when we're the nation's leading firms for long-term care and other asset protection strategies.
Awesome, Roy. You know, I met you at an event. I think it was in Pennsylvania, right? Is that where we met? I think. Maybe.
Yeah, the Dr. Oz thing. Yeah,
Dr. Oz. Yeah, and then John Fetterman beats him at Senate. I still think maybe that was fishy. There was some fishy stuff going on there.
Of course. There's no way that guy can't even finish a sentence. Yeah.
I think they want to run him as president. You know, he's gonna be the next president.
That's the puppeteering. That's what it
is. So this book, Long-Term Care, I didn't know anything about long-term care or what it was, and you kind of educated me on this and the importance of it for people in their 40s, people in their 50s, people in their 60s. That wow, this is really something to look at. But the other important book that we published for you that's now under your publishing label, Social Security 101. Why is Social Security 101 so important? Why should everybody get this book if they're living and working in America?
Yeah, the reason why you should have that book is because Social Security is basically a tax that is assessed on your wages. And then when you go to retire, they give you a pension, like a payment. So Social Security, it's just a giant annuity. It's all it is. But the reason why I wrote the book is because there's so many different ways to file for Social Security. There's different ways to get the most out of your benefit. I'm not going to say there are tricks to maximize it, but there are tactics to get a lot more benefit that people just don't know. Because Social Security, they cannot give you any advice if you call them on the phone for liability purposes. And half the time when you call in there, you might get lucky and get somebody who really knows the system. And other times you may not get somebody who is very familiar with it, and you may get misinformation. So I took the over 100,000 pages on Social Security's website, and I compiled it down to just a 100-page book that's simple, easy to read. It goes over all the high-level basics because people have the same questions. When should I take it? And if I take it now, what's the penalty or the consequences? And so we go through every stage of when they're going to retire, how to take their benefit while working and so forth, and how to get widow benefits, spousal benefits, all of this. And it really helps people demystify it because you can't get clear information today. It's not like it used to be where you could simply walk into the office. Now you ask anybody who's in their eligibility age in the mid 60s, if they've been to Social Security before, it's a disaster. You're like wrapped around the building waiting in line.
That's crazy. That is crazy, man. Well, I'm really blessed because my parents, they retired the day after Dad turned 65. Mom and Dad retired, and they were really smart. And they're 82 and 70. I want to say 78 now, Mom and Dad. And
wow,
my brother and I don't have to worry about them. They're fine, and they're going to be fine no matter how long they live. And it's all because they got a hold of information like this when they were younger.
Yeah.
And so when somebody goes to roysnarr.com or they go buy Social Security 101, they go buy long-term care, I would say these are great stocking stuffers for your parents and grandparents. Hey, listen, if you don't want to be taking care of your parents and grandparents, if you want to be having a vacation with your wife and kids or your husband and your kids, and you don't want to be taking care of your elderly parents, you need to read these books and then get on Roy's calendar because it's going to save you a lot. Hey, I didn't get a chance to ask Chip what he's grateful for, what he's thankful for. This is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Everybody's got traditions. I got to tell you, one of our traditions at the Butlers is we don't always cook a turkey. In fact, we've done Mexican food for Thanksgiving. We've done barbecue and brisket for Thanksgiving. We were going to do smoked chicken, but Mom says at the last minute that we're going to do turkey this year. I just don't know if it's going to be deep fried or smoked or baked. What are some of your traditions for Thanksgiving, Roy?
Well, the biggest one that we have is we always try to get everybody together in one spot, because even with COVID and everything else, we still had all the family under one roof for the most part that we can fit. And then there's some extended family that we do the Wednesday and Friday stuff with, but that's our biggest tradition. It's just to have everybody over. They spend the day, we put the game on, we just get to hang out. We're not working, just decompress. And, living in Texas, we're pretty lucky because who knows what tomorrow, the next day holds weather-wise. It could be 40 degrees or it could be 80. But normally it's cool enough where we can go outside and enjoy, play cornhole, and just hang out. We try not to do anything beyond that. We get everything prepped the day before. So it's literally just relaxation with the family. That's I guess you would say our biggest tradition, which is very similar to everybody else's as well. But that's what we tried to get everybody in. Even if we have to buy airline tickets to fly people in, we get them to come see us.
That is awesome. So are you grateful that you moved from California to Texas?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, apart from there not being a decent beach here.
Yeah. I mean, if we had the California beaches and the mountains, I do miss the mountains because I grew up in the mountains. My wife, she's from Yosemite. I'm from the Big Bear Mountains.
Oh, wow.
So we do miss the pine trees, the elevation, the serenity. However, it's totally worth the price of freedom, which is living here in Texas versus California. And we moved here just to give ourselves and our kids a much better opportunity and to be able to grow and to also give back. Because in California, we weren't able to do any of these charitable events or do anything. We just were barely making it, and because half of our money was all taxed. So in Texas, it's much better.
Yeah, it's easier to run a business in Texas or start a company.
Oh,
Texas, right? And so, have you got a few guns to keep yourself safe, just in case?
Oh yeah, totally.
When I was living in California, the waiting list just to get a gun, just to get a permit for a gun, it's kind of ridiculous. So
yeah, you can't even have a squirt gun in California.
Hey, what are you most grateful for this Thanksgiving?
I would say it's a combination. It's the family that we have. We're very fortunate and blessed to have them. We all get along pretty well, which is unique. Even my outlaws, I call them, we get along great. And the team that we have here at the office, which they're like family. It's exactly how it is. We all are very close here, and just being thankful for the great people that we have in our lives. When I was younger, there were always those like the kind of not so cool crowds, and we had some kind of losers in our circle as kids, and we kind of pushed them all away. And now today it's like, wow, everybody that I'm around, including yourself, Michael, we get along well. They're good people. They're doing big causes, thinking bigger than just themselves and being able to give back. So I'm just very fortunate to be like stepping back and saying, wow, we've been able to build such a great company and help thousands of people every single year. And the coolest part is all the people that are helping us do this, they're all family to us.
You've been a big blessing to 1040impact.org, and we've been able to touch so many lives over the years, and particularly this year. I was looking at this video that I was in your studio. I think this was June or July.
Texas pride can you get?
Well, in the news, do you remember what this podcast interview was?
I think it was July, actually. Yeah,
I think it was July, because on this video, you asked me how many kids we had rescued, and up until this point, we were taking care of 328 kids that we rescued. And now going into Thanksgiving, it's 394. I'm not a math guy. Hang on. This year, from July till now, minus 328, 66 more kids that we've rescued. So thanks for your help on that, Roy. Yeah. Now you've got a nonprofit you're very passionate about. You were telling me about the other day. You're going to talk a little bit about next week, but tell us a little bit about this nonprofit that you've been able to partner up with.
Well, so what we're doing is I'm creating it's called the Snarr Foundation. I'm really just branding my name because it's very unique, and it's a great legacy tool that my kids can take over. And so we're calling it the Snarr Foundation. And what it is, it's a compilation of all the top charities. Obviously 1040 Impact's on there, but another recent one that I'm very excited about. One of my clients, he is a retired attorney, and it's called Superhero Kids. And what they do is they help support families. And just like your program, every dollar that goes in that you give actually gets to those families. That's amazing, because a lot of these other bigger charities out there, you give $1 and then 3 cents goes to the actual cause, right? Yeah, and then everybody's driving around Ferraris from the from the nonprofit. So I always try to align myself with folks like yourself, like my client John that owns Superhero Kids, because every dollar I give goes directly to those kids. And what they do is, unfortunately, our medical system in the U.S. is it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, because there are good families out there that have decent jobs, and a lot of the coverages for their sick kids that may have cancer or other diseases or sicknesses, they're not being able to get full coverage for them. And so they're coming out of pocket. They're losing absolutely everything. And so what this charity does is it comes in and it helps cover the baseline expenses, pays for the mortgage for the parents so they can put more money back to their kids. The money, if there's extra, it go into services for those actual kids and helps provide food and shelter and clothing and everything for them. So, because it's not these kids' fault, right? And they're just in an unfortunate situation. So the way it works, we're able to help give them money to support their families, to help them get through this tough time. And so we're really proud about being able to be a part of that. There's some other groups that we're going to be putting on there. Some, depending on how you feel about it, but there's some other veteran groups and also Second Amendment right groups that we're going to put on there that are nonprofit to help protect and preserve like what America's all about, which is freedom and independence, and also to give back to people outside of this country, such as your program as well.
Yeah, it's very exciting what you're doing. If we don't have a Second Amendment, then we don't have a First Amendment, right? So
That's
really
true.
really appreciate everything you're doing, Roy. And I would imagine when people jump on your calendar to learn more about Social Security 101 and long-term care, you're going to talk to them a little bit about some other ways that they can save money, make more money, be smarter with their money, and really create some family wealth. So roysnarr.com, jump on Roy's calendar. And we're glad you're watching today. Tell us where you're watching from. We want to know where you're watching from. So be sure and put in the chat where you're watching from. And I want to watch another few minutes of this clip, Roy. It gets good.
The new Silicon Valley right here in Austin.
Oh,
right?
yeah. This
So
place is booming.
You're in the hub of where everybody wants to be and everything's going on. This is where the money is because Roy is here.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm just trying to be in between that money transfers. That's all.
Good. That's good. That's good.
That's awesome. Well, we're very excited to have you on today. And I want the listeners to know about your story, because when we talk about entrepreneurship and giving back, sometimes people think, oh, entrepreneurship is easy. I'm going to hop into it. I'll make $1 million right away. But then they really learn about the struggles, and more importantly, they learn about themselves. So perhaps you could share your story, because people may see you now like, hey, look, this 7-figure man who's built these amazing businesses. But how did you actually start? What was your inspiration?
Yeah, you're talking about the entrepreneur that wants to quit their 9-to-5, 40-hour-a-week job so they can work for themselves, and they realize they're working 90, 100 hours a week for themselves and not getting any vacation, right? So I started my first business at age 14, growing up on the farm in Oklahoma, and I ran an ad in the newspaper, and I got 15 lawn mowing jobs.
Wow.
I had saved money for a lawnmower and a weed eater. The only thing was I wasn't old enough to drive, so I had to hire a driver to take me to mow those lawns. So entrepreneurship has just been something that's been in my blood my entire life, and I think it came from my grandfather.
Oh, okay.
He's the youngest of 9 children, and both of his parents died when he was very young. He only got a second-grade education.
Wow.
But I can remember before he passed away in Oklahoma, we're driving in the car in his small town of Wagner, Oklahoma, and he said, Michael, that duplex over there, your grandmother and I own that. And then he turns the corner, this next street, he says, we own that house on the corner and the house across the street from that one. And as we're driving around, I knew he bought the dairy farm and saved his money to buy a dairy farm. But I didn't know he was a real estate mogul. And before he passed away, he's showing me all the houses, all the real estate they had invested in. And so I think entrepreneurship was just kind of in my blood, even though both of my parents went the corporate route and retired after 40 years, got the gold watch and all that stuff. I was never wired that way. I could never sit still in school. I always had ideas for businesses, and it just kind of followed me throughout my life. But as a kid, when I stuttered from ages 5 to 11.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. That's a challenge.
Yeah, it is a challenge because I'm naturally outgoing, but kids are laughing and making fun of me. So growing up on the farm in Oklahoma,
I'm going to be, I've never broadcast this podcast. I know you pushed it out on your end. I'm going to be sharing it, Roy, over the Thanksgiving holiday, maybe on Black Friday.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, talking about writing books, how hard was it for you to write these books? How long did it take you to write these books?
Oh, well, I mean, that's before when I first wrote the Social Security book, I didn't know you then. And that took quite some time, only because I procrastinated it, right? I didn't actually sit down and focus. It's like trying to learn a new language or an instrument, right? I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so I finally sat down. When I actually focused on the book 100%, I would say that Social Security book, typing out the outline itself and each paragraph, it probably took me a good 8 hours to do. That was it. So within one workday, I was able to knock out that whole book. And now, knowing what I'd known today, working with you, I could easily knock out a book much faster than that. I could probably do a book within a few hours of content using just voice to text and talking and doing some chat GPT research and everything else and putting it together. And then having your team, which they do great, which is edit it, because the commas and punctuations and all that, that's not my strong suit. And then we get it ready to go to print and send out within, a few weeks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited because we're doing a webinar this Friday, this Black Friday, and you can go to RSVP. It's going to fill up quick. BeyondWebinar.com. I'll personally be teaching it. It's 10 a.m. Central, but that's okay. No matter what time zone you're in, if you just go to BeyondWebinar.com, get your name on the list. You're not going to miss it, and you'll get the reminder to jump on. Hey, you'll be back from Black Friday shopping, or you'll be having a turkey coma hangover, whatever's going on. You'll be gearing up for the football. There's a lot of football this Thursday and Friday, and I'm going to teach you how to write a book in 1 hour. And this is a course that I was selling pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, we were selling this course for $1,200, and I'm going to be offering it to you for absolutely free. How to write your book in 1 hour. Roy, it's funny because you talk about how long it took you to write these books.
Oh yeah.
Once you make the decision to write it, you can write it. I did something this summer in San Antonio in my backyard. I did something I grew up doing with my dad, and that is growing a garden. I can remember as a 7-year-old kid, my brother and I had to work this 1 acre garden, and we would go in my dad's 63 Chevy, and we would shovel that horse manure and take it back to the farm and put it on the garden. And you know what? Nobody loves shoveling manure, but everybody loves eating fresh watermelon and strawberries and cantaloupe in the summertime. You enjoy that. And so if you can get through that horse manure and minutia, you can end up with a lead magnet like this.
Oh, that's great. Yes.
68% more likely to get on stage, to get a media interview. Tell me a little bit about the speaking and the media interviews. How have these books been lead magnets for you? How do you use them? And then also, how are you further using them in your academy on the back end? Because you've got this content. You can literally go on a webinar or do a podcast on each chapter of the book. Do a podcast on Medicaid. How are you using the books?
100%. You know what's great? Right before this call, I was actually working with our publisher to get another white label book in force. Okay, so in our practice here, we have an agency. We represent financial advisors, CPAs, attorneys, insurance agents, mainly insurance agents, right, to help people with life insurance, asset protection, long-term care, safe money strategies, and so forth. But a lot of these agents that are in our agency, there's hundreds of them all across the country. They need some sort of standout type of credibility. And one of the quickest ways that we've been able to develop that for them and increase their production and their reputation is to piggyback on what I already created, which is the Social Security book. And then my partner Garrett and I, we did the long-term care book together. And then now we allow them to white label it. So it says presented by. So it's not authored by, but presented by. But the majority of the public never questions that. I still, to this day, use a book that's presented by me, but was written by somebody else in the industry. I use multiple books because it's great. I've had 2 people my entire career say, you didn't actually write this. I go, no, I didn't. I actually just license it because it's great content. They go, oh, okay. So now we're able to help these agents out with these white label books. So if you're in a particular industry, it doesn't matter what you're in. Let's say you own an auto body shop, right? You can say, hey, here's a guide on how to, grow and scale your auto body shop. Or here's a guide for consumers about why they should choose you. You write a little short book about it, then you can white label it to other people in the auto body shop industry. It's a great business model. It's helped me dramatically get onto stage, podcast, everything else, because it's a high competition world. What separates you from the guy next to you? Well, do you have 2 of your own books? Do you have 3 of your own books? If you have that, you have a leg up, which is amazing. And the other thing that we've rolled out with you, which is very advantageous, is creating our own white label publishing company. So now a lot of these agents that we're working with, they go, hey, I don't want to simply just have a presented by book. I want my own book, but I don't know how to do it. I heard it costs $30,000, $40,000 to do it. And where do I even start? And now we have this white label, this actual program, it's not the white label, where they can actually have their own book, all written for them, ghost written, everything published, all that fun stuff at a very, very affordable price. And it makes complete sense for what we're doing. And even if I'm even talking to other people that are attorneys or CPAs or whatever industry they may be in, they can say, look, why don't you create your own sub-labeling of a publishing group and then piggyback on Michael's team and then go ahead and create a distribution channel to increase your revenues and your credibility in the industry. Because we want to be able to say all in good time that we've helped over 1,000 agents become bestsellers with their own book. That's going to want more agents to work with us.
That's really huge. That's great from the agent recruitment side, and that's great for the consumer side of the insurance products, right? So you're educating people on the products that are available in your industry, but you're also attracting more agents, and you're also helping them become lead magnets by having their own books. And it's always a win-win when more of your content is being broadcast through multiple channels. And I just want to say I'm really proud of the work you're doing. You've done a lot of media. You've done a lot of speaking. You host your own events. You go to events that you sponsor. And then from this event right here, let's see if I can bring it back in. What is it? Add this. There we go.
Became an introvert.
We were right here.
I was
think
naturally outgoing.
Bring the volume down. So we'll still be talking here. So this is kind of cool. This is in your podcast, in your studio in Austin, Texas. So how important is it as a business owner to have more than one lead generation magnet? So the books are one, the podcast is one, you're speaking, you're doing media interviews, and now you have the academy. So I think you're doing Google as well, right? Pay-per-click ads, right?
Not quite doing the pay-per-click ads yet. What I've done with Google, which everybody on this show should do or watching if they are a business owner, you can easily create a Google My Business page. Right? It used to be Google My Business, but now it is through Google Maps, where you have a registry. So if somebody types your name and your company name and they see this big Google ad there, like it looks, where you can call, see the reviews, all of that. That's free. It doesn't cost anything. You just have to have a physical address.
And thanks to you reminded me of that. I had set that up, but it was when we met, I guess about a year ago in Philadelphia at the Dr. Oz event.
Mm-hmm.
You left a review on my Google page. I left a review on Roy Snarr Insurance. And you know what? We get about 2 or 3 new customers a month just from our Google listing, our Google My Business in Dallas, in San Antonio, in Houston, and in Austin. And so take advantage of it. Like you said, it's free. So if you're getting reviews, if people are posting there, it's important for the business owner to frequently update the content and then to optimize every page of that listing with all your keywords. But if you're frequently updating the content with photographs, videos, and postings and relevant keywords and meta tags, just like your podcast, you could take every one of your podcast episodes, because listen to this, you're putting out good information.
It was my third venture. Actually, when my kids were young, they were 10, 8, 6, and 4, and I found myself a single father. And I said, I really need to make more income. There wasn't a lot of money at the time in Oklahoma where I was.
Share. You could take every episode of your podcast and transcribe it through a service like Happy Scribe, which is what I use, but you could use any one of these transcription services, and literally every podcast becomes a blog post, becomes a Google My Business post, and you're repurposing content. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Just like you can start your own publishing company. We do this for 5 different people, including the world's largest fraternity, Sigma Chi fraternity. We're their publisher. We're Sigma Chi Press on the back end. And so really smart of you. I like what the world's first billionaire said, was from my hometown, Tulsa, Oklahoma. J. Paul Getty made his money in oil. And he said, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. But Roy, we're going to talk a lot about it next week. We're going to talk about 1040 Impact, how you've really helped us make an impact, and our nonprofit that has grown from 55 kids to 394 kids. Check it out. Back that up. And we've got to update this slide before next week. You got a new video coming out, and it'll have the updated numbers. This one says 375. When I was on your podcast, I said 328. We're now at 394 kids we've rescued that we're taking care of. But check it out. All right. Well, we're really excited about 1040 Impact. We're going to be talking about it more next week, because next week is My Giving Tuesday. And we're going to put the link up here in a minute where you can actually go and RSVP. We're going to interview dozens of our authors and business owners from around the world, because Thursday's Thanksgiving, Friday's Black Friday, Saturday's Small Business Saturday, Monday's Cyber Monday, and then Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. And so that's where every year around the world, we draw attention to some great nonprofits that are doing great things, and so grateful for what we've been able to do at 1040 Impact. Well, you want to stick around for our next guest, because our next guest, he's from Utah, and he's doing some incredible things. He's a best-selling author. And let me just bring in Riley Jensen to the show. Welcome, Riley Jensen. How you doing today?
Thank you. Glad to join you. Had a little bit of technical difficulty getting here, but we did it.
You did it. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations on your new book launching December 5th. Has already gone #1 on Amazon. Pure, Unadulterated Guts, Insights for Bravery, Courage, and Vulnerability. You're a mental performance coach, and you run a great organization, Riley, in Utah. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about the book. Who did you write it for, and why did you write it?
Well, I think one of the reasons that comes to mind is, over the years, I've had all kinds of athletes, all kinds of business people, and really parents who continually ask me, what is the best way for me to build confidence in my son? What is the best way for me to build confidence in my athlete? What is the best way for me to be a leader that can give confidence to the people that I'm working with? And without a doubt, that's a question that I get all the time. And this book is about the tools and about some of the really easy and applicable things that you can do to build confidence in others. And really, the truth is stepping outside of your comfort zone every day. And I challenge people all the time, it's the name of the book, to 7 minutes a week of pure, unadulterated guts. Basically, if you can step outside of your comfort zone for 1 minute a day, it will change everything.
I was looking at the cover this morning with you, and we're about to go to press with your book. You were a quarterback in college. You played sports your entire life. You grew up in sports. Now you work with professional teams like Real Salt Lake. You work with Olympic athletes. You work with student athletes ages 8 and 9, all the way up to professional athletes in the NFL. Tell me a little bit about not only the performance coaching you do with sports athletes that want to excel and go to the next level, but also with corporations, with companies in the boardrooms, the CEOs. What exactly are you doing for them from a mindset standpoint to get them? I mean, you had one game that you were featured in the media where you were sacked a record number 10 times. How do you as a quarterback, how do you as a CEO bounce back from a business that's got sacked? How do you do that?
Right. Well, there's an old Chinese proverb that says, fall down 7, get up 8, and it's grounds for Dairy Queen. I don't think that part of the end is the Chinese proverb, but it really is. You just keep getting back up and you keep plugging along. And, the things that have been interesting about being in this field is you work with individual athletes, you work with teams, and then invariably there's success that happens through some of these principles and some of these tried and true scientific best practices. And pretty soon the president of the Utah Jazz wants to talk to you about his employees. Pretty soon the president of Real Salt Lake wants to talk to you about his employees. Pretty soon, the owner and CEO of Legacy Power wants to talk to you about how do we build a culture that spreads throughout. And the truth is this positive mindset, this ability, this resilient mindset is contagious, just like a negative mindset is. And so you have to be careful about what you're saying out loud and how you're approaching things, because when we say things out loud, it gives things 3 to 10 times more power. So we just have to be careful with that. And we have to be careful with what we're saying and how we're wording things in the workplace, on the football field, on the tennis court, and in our own homes.
You know, one of my authors, Charlie Anderson's launching a book called Split Second Transformation, Change Your Words, Change Your Lives and Life. And what you said there is just scientific proof that, you know, and the scripture says it as well, that, you know, that principle in scripture is that the words we speak frame our future. Hey, I'm looking at some of the endorsements on the back of Pure Unadulterated Guts. And you got Super Bowl champion San Francisco 49er Jesse Sapula, who says, as a Super Bowl champ for the 49ers, I know the power of a strong mindset. Riley's insights in Pure Unadulterated Guts are a game changer. So the ebook is available now for pre-order. You've already gone #1 in 3 categories. You like to say increase your confidence and unleash your inner lion. What's one of your success stories with one of your students in athletics or one of your coaching clients in the business world where you're able to turn them around? And as you think of that, because I know there's so many you got to pick, we only have a short time, and you're going to be with us again next Tuesday for a longer time. But Jim Olson, of the president of the Utah Jazz, says, more than strategies for athletes, this book, it's a blueprint for anyone looking to break free from their own limiting beliefs and harness their true potential. Also, like I said, Real Salt Lake president, but also the veteran goalkeeper, Zach McMath, says, Riley Jensen's been there in the clutch moments, both as a friend and as a mental coach. Grab you some copies of Pure Unadulterated Guts for your entire team. Change their life. Doug Robinson, owner and CEO of LGCY Power. What's because I know you've got so many. What's one that stands out this Thanksgiving season that you would like to share? Because football is big right now, top of mind with a lot of people. But I know you not only work with football teams and football players and coaches, you also work with soccer, swimmers, golfers. What's something you can share?
Well, one thing that comes to mind, and I won't share his name right now, just because of privilege, you know, between myself and him. You could probably look this up pretty easy, but last year he finished 26th on the Korn Ferry Tour in pro golf, which is basically the equivalent of AAA baseball, right? And they take the top 25 and they give them a tour card where they get to golf with Tiger Woods and with everybody else. Well, we've been working for about 1.5 years together. This year, I'm proud to announce that he got his tour card. He will be golfing with Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson and Rory McIlroy and all these great players. And he's been working on it for 5 years. And, you know, I don't think that I'm the only reason that he's having success. He's incredibly talented. He's an incredibly hard worker, a great family man, and a great person. But we've had some opportunity to really use some of these tools and help him get to the next level. And there's nothing that makes me more happy, Michael, than to work with people that are trying to chase dreams and to help them get there. I mean, who can have a better job than I do? No one has a better job than I do to help people to chase their dreams and get to where they want to go.
Well, you're changing lives every day, and that's just an epic story because everybody that's doing something at the top of their industry or in their sport has got more than one coach, right? I mean, you've got multiple coaches. And so the fact is we don't get better in a vacuum. We've got to have people. We got to have a team. Hey, I want to know, how did you feel this morning when you saw the book for the very first time? Did that make you feel pretty good?
Oh, it's a pretty fun feeling. You know, this has been a lot of work and a work of love and diligence. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, I just wanted to have something down in writing that my 11-year-old, my 9-year-old, and my 4-year-old might read someday and go, God, you know what? You know, all those things that Dad was telling me as we were growing up, like that's really impactful to see it in written form. And, you know, I hope we live on forever when we die, but sometimes we don't. And so something down in writing helps me to feel like, God, maybe they can pick it up and hear my voice one day when I'm gone.
You know, your kids are about the same age as Roy's kids. I know, Roy, that's why you write your books, right? And so your kids one day will be like, hey, Dad was a pretty smart guy. So I'm definitely going to connect you guys, and you guys definitely need to hang out. Hey, I know giving back, paying it forward is a big part of your life, Riley. I'm going to ask you the last question. But before I do that, how long, you had mentioned this was a lot of work. How hard was it, and how long did it take you to write the book, Pure Guts?
So 5 years in the making, about 1 year in writing. And I had a really, really good friend that actually kept me on track. She kept me accountable, and
kicking your butt.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to teach you how to write a book in 1 hour, and so I'm going to teach you how to do it on Black Friday. So when you're done with your Thanksgiving turkey coma, your hangover, and you're ready for some Friday, Thursday football, just go right now to beyondwebinar.com. I'm going to teach you what I've been teaching pre-pandemic. People were buying my course for $1,200. It's helped thousands of people write their best-selling book. Just go to beyondwebinar.com. Even if you're on your second or third book, the system I teach you in how to write a chapter in 20 minutes, how to come up with a title, subtitle, how to come up with a cover design. And by the way, Riley, nice job. You guys actually brought us the cover design. We didn't design yours, but for the most part, we design all the covers. And we're going to help you figure out who your audience is, how to write a chapter in 20 minutes. And I'm going to help you in 60 minutes on Black Friday before I hit the road myself, because our family's doing Thanksgiving on Saturday. I am so grateful for all of our authors. We've got 198 authors in 64 nations, 791 books published. Riley, your book is 792. Who's going to be number 800? Well, you can literally learn how to write your book in 1 hour. You could do it. I'm going to teach you how to do it. And then we can literally, like Riley, he wanted to be up by Christmas. Listen, we're releasing you. What day are we releasing this book? I think it's December the 5th, right?
That's correct. December 5th.
But pre-buy it now. Don't wait. You might be too late. Already number 1 in 3 categories. I know giving back's a big major thing. How important is paying it forward for you, Riley?
Oh, I think when you think about performance, when you think about what you're trying to do in life, you need to know what your why is. My why is 3 words: leave a legacy. And so I ask myself the question, whenever somebody asks me to do something, will this help me to leave a legacy? That doesn't have to do with money. That doesn't have to do with anything other than maybe my time and time well spent with different people. And so I'm constantly giving free sessions. People in my neighborhood, people at my church are constantly asking, for advice or for thoughts. And I always give those freely because, and my wife's sometimes like, well, gal, a doctor would charge for that. And I'm like, yeah, that's not how this works with me. I want people to get to where they're going, and I want people to say good things and feel good things when they're around me. And so, giving back is part of the process here at RJ Performance Group. We have all kinds of opportunities to use our services for free if you're having a hard time. So give us a look, rjpg.net. We'd love to have you come and be part of our team and let us help you pursue your dreams.
Outstanding. Well, you've been watching the Michael D Show, and every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. at this time, we feature amazing authors from around the world. So stick around. I'm going to feature everybody's video. And then next week, I want you to jump on right now. We're going to be going for 2 hours on My Giving Tuesday. Roy's going to be helping me co-host that first hour, and we've got amazing guests throughout the morning. And we want you to go ahead and RSVP at mygivingtuesday.org. All the Beyond Publishing authors that want to grab their free 5 minutes of fame, that's great. For those of you that want more time, you can do a $25 donation at 1040impact.org and just pop it into go to mygivingtuesday.org. We will follow up with you. We'll get you scheduled. It's going to be a great epic time. We'll have 10 people in the studio at one time, but I just want to close it out with a couple of videos here in my recap with Roy. And check out Roy's podcast studio in Austin, Texas, Riley. Check that out. Is that pretty cool or what?
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Looking at the Capitol. I think you should have Riley on your show. You want to fly out to Austin?
Wow. I got into network marketing.
Looks beautiful.
I love the people.
All right. Changing lives in New York and NASDAQ and beyond. Michael D. Butler, Global Book Publisher. We're ending human trafficking at 1040impact.org.
It's not about competition. It's simply about the moment. When you feel it, you've come the closest you can get to touching eternity.
Mom, if I don't do this now, I never will.
Let your heart skip a beat. Don't hold on so tight.
Leaving home, my mom had a premonition something might happen to me on this trip. And my dad, well, he just wants me to get ahead in life. And me, well, I just want to get out there and discover freedom.
I just left home and and doing it the whole endless summer thing.
Every year that you out. Two white boys are shooting out in this mighty desert, eh?
Surfing.
In a place like this, it's easy to get lost in the moment. Beautiful culture, new and exotic, awakening the senses and the whole body.
I'm Annabelle.
Yeah.
Promise that you'll never go.
It's that chick, isn't it?
I think I'm falling in love with her.
Teach me everything to know. 'Cause I've been lost so. Are you gonna tell me about this perfect wave?
It's almost as if time stands still.
And I fall. Time can stand still.
All right, I found Riley here. I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to share my my Riley clip. I got to tell you, if anything comes good out of getting sacked 10 times in one game, was that a Division I NCAA record, or was that for
No,
Washington?
I think it was a school record for the University of Washington sacking me. It was a rough game. It was a rough game.
You needed some Tylenol the next morning, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, vitamin I they call it, vitamin ibuprofen.
I'm gonna share the screen here, man, because this is a great clip. It's not, but it's great how you've capitalized on this and turned it into a business. Let me know.
Get at least 200 whelps in this act time and time again. As he is sacked for the 10th time today.
I got knocked
Good afternoon, everybody.
Huskies
at the University of Washington. I think I'd been sacked 10 times. I think it was a school record.
Taken down at about the 8-yard line. Here's Johnson again. He's going to get at least 200 whelps in this act time and time again. As he is sacked for the 10th time today.
I got knocked out in the fourth quarter.
Jensen back, forced to run with it, rolling out right, throwing, ball deflected.
I think he knocked him out, Kevin.
It was a good one, like a roadkill type knockout.
Yeah, it looked like Ken Walker came in, got him right on the old chin strap.
My mom was really upset about it. Like, she thought like something was seriously wrong because I didn't move for a long time. What that led to was me sitting out against the University of Idaho. We lost that game, and what ended up happening the next week is they benched me for the freshman and decided to move on with rebuilding the program. And I remember just calling my mom on the phone and just breaking down and saying, "Mom, I think the dream's over." And I remember her just saying, "I'm so sorry, I don't know what to say." And we just cried together. It literally was the last time that I played. And man, it breaks your heart. It breaks your heart. My football journey has been, I mean, it wasn't exactly how I drew it, but man, it was a fun journey. And I learned so many lessons along the way.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's just great. It's great story to have a clip like that, and a company like Roy's that featured you. I'll never forget as a kid, because my brother and I thought we were going to play in the big leagues. We were from a small town, small farming community in Oklahoma, 6,000 people in Bonita, and we had our cattle farm of 30 acres, and you know the local kids. We all played on the same baseball teams, the same kids we worked in the garden with and went to church with, and played baseball with. And so we actually won the championship that year. I'm the youngest kid. I've got to play with the older boys. I'm 2 years younger than everybody else, and we only had 8 players, and then our coach quit. So we had the assistant coach who was 17, and we won the championship game. My brother's catcher, I'm second base. We threw everybody out, and we won in overtime, because every time that ninth batter got up, it was a ghost out, because we only had 8 players. So it was an amazing. I think the lessons you learn, and I never played at the college level like you did, but the things I learned really shaped me growing up on the farm and playing sports. So Riley, I would say go grab the book right now, Pure Unadulterated Guts. Pre-buy it now. You've already gone number 1, but this thing's releasing. And guys, there's so many lessons here for your company and for athletes that want to take it to the next level. But go ahead and jump on mygivingtuesday.org and RSVP, and then I'll reach out to you and get everybody scheduled for next Tuesday. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for health. I'm grateful that Riley's book number 792. Hey, Riley, you're going to love this, because Roy Snarr, we're running his publishing company for him. We do this for 5 other customers, including Sigma Chi Press, which is the world's largest fraternity. and we're the press. So if you're a business owner and it would be cool to have a publishing company, but you don't want to mess with the hassle, we do that for you. So check it out. And it's been great to have you on the Michael D Show, friends. Have a great Thanksgiving week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Enjoy.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. All right. Thank you, guys.